presence. A week ago, we came over here and the slave wasn't running. I want to talk to you about a man by the name of Butch Little. I did not know until probably this year that his name was James. He was a master wood turner and probably the reason why I stand before you today. He was one of my mentors. Butch was very much involved in education in high schools and stuff. He was a mentor. He loved working with children, young adults, and promoting his craft. Butch was born in 1947, which he was an old guy. He was a lot older than I was. I pulled his bio. We have these on all of our wood turners. But he graduated from high school in 1966. He went to college at Central State University in Edmond, earned a bachelor's degree, got a minor degree in fine art. He done many art classes in Oklahoma City, Rose State College, entered the building trade as an employee as a framer. He framed, I guess Coach He'll talk to you about that. He's a cabinet maker, furniture maker. He made the wheels on the coaches, wagon wheels. He demonstrated tools for the Sears Company. These tools here from Sears Company. He taught educational classes at the Votex in Oklahoma City. Here's the cool part. Butch had done work at the state capitol. Butch has worked at the University of Oklahoma in Norman. Butch has worked at the Oklahoma State University at Stillwater. Will Rogers Airport in Oklahoma City. Baseball Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City, and many motels and hotels and hospitals. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach, March, I was given the task by being Butch's friend. Earl, I want you to have his hand tools. I said, I can't do it. You need to wait 6 months before you do anything with it. She said, no, you don't understand. I think Butch wants you to have these tools. But it comes with an attachment, guidelines, rules. The tools can never be put on a shelf and admired. They got to be put back in the hands of people that will use them. Covert came along. Butch died April the 17th of this year. He wanted to come to the high school in 2000 to work, but he just couldn't. He was sick. He had cancer. He passed away. I talked to his wife and stayed in contact with him. And after Butch passed, we called and talked. And I'm a big guy, but I'm not going to be ashamed of it. We both cried because we lost a great friend. I lost a mentor. She said, Earl, I'm going to send you these tools, but you've got to put them back in the hands of people that will use them. COVID came and we were locked out. We weren't in school. We didn't go in play. We didn't demo. We were shut down. I was really feeling horrible. What am I going to do with the tools? They've been sitting in my shop, not being used. And that's one thing that Butch didn't want. We got Sam had told us, Stephen, that you guys have got a lathe. Will we come? We did. So we came over here. We met Coach Hill. We met some of you guys. And we were talking about it. I told Coach Hill, I said, Coach Hill, if I can get this lathe running, I will bring it back and I will bring you a set of tools. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the tools that have been touched by the master's hand. They're not fancy tools you see in magazines, but these are the tools that Butch Lindley used in his work and his craft and when he taught people. These tools I had in my hand when Butch laid his hand on mine and showed me how to turn. This device right here is called a safety chuck. I'll show you how to do it. It's the greatest thing in the world. This piece of equipment right here is probably the reason why I'm standing here before you as a wood turner. So with sadness in my heart, but fulfilling a promise that I made, I now present you guys with a set of tools that's been touched by the master's hand. And I hope you.
What would you say, guys?
Thank you.
It's my great honor. Today I have fulfilled a promise. I think Butch is laughing at us or looking at us from heaven and saying, hope he's proud of me. Hope one of my mentors are proud of me. Guys, here's your lathe. It's one of the most safest lathes I've ever seen that we're working with. I'll explain it to Coach Hill how to turn it off and how to turn it on. It has a safety drive in it. Look here. It's not bound down. So you can take a tool and stick it in here and it's not gonna throw it at you, it's not gonna catch it. I wanna run over just a very, very few safety. Machine right here only turns thing around and around. That's the only thing you can do. You can make a flat spot, you can make a bead, and you can make a coal. That's all we can do. This is a tool rest. This is where the tool sets, chisels, tools, sets on it. This is where you actually present the tool to the wood. We're going to do all this when we come in here and do classes. We're setting stuff up. Doug Zeus back here is a guy that's over the Forest Heritage Center and Callisto. Those guys are going to put together a program with Rod's on the board. They're going to put together a program, and hopefully we'll actually be able to come in here and teach a week classes or maybe 2 weeks classes. That's what we love to do. We're retired. The 3 of us are retired. There's other master turners out there. We would love to come in here and show you guys our craft. That's what we love to do. Coach, I will give you a bunch of handouts, a bunch of information. If you guys come to the classes, there's certain things, I'll give them to you here in a minute, Coach. Here's a test that you're going to take. And we're going to promise you, you'll pass this test with 100% before you put your hands on the lathe. I don't know. You have to. It's not hard. We'll help you do it. We don't care how well you take a test. We don't know if you have the knowledge to come before the lathe and stuff. Okay? So we've got about 30 minutes.
This class right here, yes, sir, about 35 minutes.
Okay. Would it be okay if we done a demo for you? That's when I go to the shop and I haven't turned for a while, I will actually just pick up something like this and just put it in the lathe just to kind of get warmed up and loosened up. When we come in to teach, we're going to require or highly recommend that you guys wear a face shield. Sometimes you will see us not wearing a face shield because we want you to be able to hear us talk. This is a roughing guide. I don't have a smaller roughing guide. I'll show you a tool in here that you can use one. But this is what Butch used. So I'm going to use some tools that he used. I'm going to make this round and then we're going to play. One of you guys want to do this?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You're going to see me do some things that I'm not even going to talk about, but you see that stopping? That's because this has no teeth on it. It's just a round cylinder pressed up in here. Butch came to back there where I was taking the class many years ago, and he showed me how this drive worked. He took the tool and stuck it in there. He said, you can do anything with this and not be afraid. So I wanted to show you, you actually can crank the pressure up on it. So when we go to teaching you guys classes, we'll use these, so don't be afraid. There's the way Butch would turn. You don't have to turn this way. The Butch turn as fast as a kind of. We'll talk about that later. We just took a round cylinder, a square cylinder, square block of wood, and pretty much made it round. Still got some work to do. What I'm doing is laying out to do a snowman. And she just passed around. This here's the hat. I will turn it down. This is the brim that you see there. This is the top ball of the head. And this is the body. So I'm going to go in there and shape this, make this smaller. Leave the brim here. Hopefully, I have broken them. I will turn this ball around smaller, and I'll make it into a ball shape. And back here, pick it up and somehow or another make a stand on it. Okay? I don't make very many. This one of these guys wants me to do it because I need to practice. There's a joke among us instructors, and you'll hear us teach it. Never go uphill, always go downhill, right? You watch, if we're in the class, you'll hear us joking, picking on one another. You may get to catch me today. Usually, in classes, we're talking all the time. This lathe is loud. It's just the generic part of this lathe. This other lathe that's in here, we'll probably do it here in just a minute. It's a lot quieter, so we can talk over it. Another reason why I'm not talking, because I'm concentrating. When you're at a lathe, you really need to be concentrating. Every one of us will tell you the catches that we get is when we're not concentrating. We're just distracted for a few minutes. I'm going to knock this out here in just a minute. Never walk away from the lanes unintended. This is a carding tool. That's one scary looking snowman. Y'all got a good catch? you don't catch really well, all right, get ready, because if this comes out,
this side of the tool room. Regardless if it's a little one, a big one, whatever, you've got your headstock, which is the driving motor, and that's got the little motor. It'll have a belt that's driving this spindle that turns this thing around so that you can do what you need to do. You got a tailstock, and you'll have different kinds of drive spurs. One of the other drive spurs has teeth that when you've got that one in there and it's pinching that piece of wood, that one's not going to slow down. It's going to keep that piece of wood spinning if you get your fingers on the wrong side of that tool room. So always know what you got in there when you start working with something. It's kind of like I saw a sign over here that says think, plan, and work. This is the same way. Think about it. Concentrate on what you're doing while you're doing it. This is not something that you got somebody on a lathe, you don't want to sneak up behind him and goose somebody and get them flinching when this thing's spinning around in a circle. The round that comes off of it, I can turn a piece of round stock square, square stock round. Those three shapes, you can make a million different designs and different kinds of things. I've started doing a lot of segmenting stuff where you take and you cut a bunch of little pieces up, glue them together, and then you end up turning. I've turned some great big bowls, some pitchers, some vases, some urns, different kinds of things that you can get a piece of wood like that cedar, or you can get some really pretty walnut, cut it all up, glue it back together, turn it around, and come up with some really ingenious designs. And I'm just getting started on that, and I've seen some stuff that just boggles my mind. I had no idea how they do it, but I'm going to learn. And it's a really cool hobby that you'll be able to make stuff for your family. And I just, my mother-in-law has probably got 50 of my things, and every time she comes down to visit, she takes a few more home. And when she finally goes, I'm probably going to have 100 things that I got to bring back to my house and figure out some other place to put them now. But my wife is the same way. She started, when I first started 3 years ago, I made some stuff that we really thought was pretty cool stuff. And now, as I've gotten better, and as you practice more, you get better hand-eye coordination, you start making better cuts, it's a whole lot easier to do. And so now it's like when I finish something, if it comes in the house, she's just like, and she'll take that one and she'll go replace it with one of the older ones that we did and bring it back, said, okay, now you can get. Well, it's not whether it's going to come out or not. It's when it's going to come out and where it's going to go when it hits somebody or yourself. So you don't want loose stuff hanging around this when you go to turn this on. And it's things like when you turn this on, before you start it, you want to turn the speed all the way down. You want to get out of the way of it. You hit the button, turn it on, you let it start spinning. And once you realize, okay, that's in there good and solid, then you can get over here, turn the speed up, and start doing what you do. So there's just, what is on that test, Doug? 20 questions? You remember?
Sir, I'm sorry.
What's on that test? 20 questions?
Oh, not even that many.
Okay.
10, I think.
And it's just gonna be things like that, of what to do to keep you safe, and the different kinds of things that you always want to do as part of that planning thing, just like you've got up here on the wall. Make sure that you've got everything ready to go when you get ready to do it. And then I'll leave that part alone, and Chris can come up, kind of talk about his.
And you'll see them on the equipment sometimes, the 10 rules that, safety rules that you need to follow. One of them, for example, and this is kind of one of the first ones that you'll need to come to, that needs to be the first sound you hear. Present the tool to the tool rest. Why? Because that's spinning, and if you get it into the wood first, you're gonna pinch your fingers. He mentioned earlier that you need to wear a face shield. There is a reason for that. Wood's not perfect. There can be some cracks in that wood that you don't see, and the first time you hang that crack with this tool, it will come apart. The only question is, which direction is it gonna go? I've broken some rather large chunks off and got them into the face mask instead of my nose. My nose has been broken enough times. So we'll just leave that, it's a good idea. He mentioned loose stuff like chucks and stuff in there. They will sling out. You want to make sure that your wood is solid. You can repair the defects with super glue or something like that to make it safe to turn. Always think about safety first. The main goal in this is not what you get out of here, it's what you keep on here. All of your fingers, everything intact, nothing broken, and that is the main goal. That's the first thing. Now let's talk a little bit about, you're only limited by your imagination. Okay? We make bolts, pins, calls, duck calls, grunt calls, predator calls, anything like that. Ornaments, the little
Christmas
snowman, Christmas trees, things that you can sit around the house. They all make good gifts. And you can sell them. People like this stuff. I got started as a way to keep me entertained and to keep my wife from killing me. Something to do to get out of the house when I retired. And it's something you never stop learning. Anybody ever look at YouTube? YouTube is your friend. That is another thing. Always be aware of where your hands and arms and stuff. There's a lot of things here that will bite you. You can tell this was quite a bit quieter. Okay, what else? You're only limited by your imagination. You will very seldom ever turn out to something that's exactly the same. And that's okay. Everything needs to have a little character. What else can you do? Spindle work, like for furniture, chairs, tables. You're all
And that'd be something that we'll teach.
I looked it up, I'm 60 years old, I said, I know what that is. Crate is making something from nothing. What we do in wood, I get to change the shape of it. We don't create it. That was already done before we got our hands on it. So we get to change the shape, and we want to share it with you guys, how to change the shape.